Here's an update on the Bad Boy Avenger, the 54-inch, 26 horsepower Kohler. Yeah. So so far I put 8.5 hours on it. This video is just to kind of go over some of the things that I've enjoyed with it, some of the things I don't really understand. I wouldn't say understand, some I kind of dislike, don't get what's there. So let's start this off. So far, problem wise out of this mower, really hadn't had too many. It mows well. Does, I guess, all right on fuel. Trying to think of some stuff that dislike so far. I have greased it. I do wish that they would have added some type of, zerk fitting or grease fitting on these spindles here for these tires. Don't understand why they didn't do that. Blades wise, I have already taken them off. It wasn't too big of a deal. Of course, need to get back underneath there and clean it again. But it's a 15/16. They came off not too bad. They were tight, so it's always a plus. Let's see. Parking brake, I've already had some issues with that. For some reason that wants to work like it should. So now it's going down on its own. But I did have a problem with it where once you put it up, it's almost like the cables didn't have any tension on them. Meaning that like when I would let it off, I would actually have to push. As you can tell, it goes on down itself. But it was, after working with it for a minute, it was where you had to push it down manually. It's like those cables in there. It's like these cables here somewhere were bound up. But you can still kind of see that they're kind of sideways. But I've had that issue, and that one kind of got me because, of course, the mower was on. I didn't hear it sling down. So it was like kind of halfway up, and one wheel was locked up. It took me a little bit to realize that the brake went fully down, so I had to manually, push it down. So you wouldn't think it'd be a big problem, but at the same time, it's kind of an aggravating thing. So as of right now, I didn't do anything but just go up and down, up and down, up and down. But that just happened, I'll say, what we got here, 8.5. Say right at the 8-hour mark is when it started happening. Engine wise, I have already did the air filter. I cleaned it out. And I did make, it's not the prettiest thing, but I did make a little hitch for it. So I might buy me one, but I just hauled it little trailers. So I had all the stuff here, but the boat I used is kind of bigger, so. But yeah, but I don't really, maybe 40 pounds maybe in that trailer, maybe. So really didn't want to buy that accessory. I was kind of upset that it didn't come with that already, honestly. But that's just one of those little deals where you just gotta, purchase that. Oil wise, engine wise, running, so far it's been good. I did notice on some of the videos, some of these have, this is a bungee strap, but some do have, I forget what it's, like almost like 2 rods. Then right down there is your fans for your pumps. On some of the models, yeah, you can tell the fan. And those rods would fall and they would break your fans. So this one's not like that. It does have the bungee strap, so it is something to look at. If you got the rods that stick up that hold this battery in place, it is known that the vibration, those bolts come off and those rods fall and they tear the blades off your pumps. So I was trying to figure out, I don't know what this bar here does, but I know I got 2 grease fittings. I did put some grease in there, but I've yet to figure out what that goes to. Seat wise, it's pretty comfortable. Don't really have any complaints complaints with that. The only real big complaint I kind of made beforehand on this mower is this mower does not do good on hillsides. I can show you a little bit of how I mow, or what I mow on. So it doesn't look like a very steep hill, but there's times this mower, going sideways on the hill. I know I didn't clarify that last time, but going sideways on the hill, this mower is not. I wouldn't really feel too comfortable doing that. I've already gotten on one yard that I did that on, and I thought I was gonna crash. So hillside sideways mowing this mower, I would not recommend at all. Up and down, it does a perfect job. So I do know they got some wheels and stuff for these that make it a little bit better. So if you have a hillside, maybe something you may want to ask the dealer. And if you have a good dealer, like my dealer told me that on my hillside here, you know, you can upgrade to a different size tire, I'm gonna have a better result. But he said I should be all right, in which honestly, in most cases here I do, but there are some sides I gotta mow, and usually I always wind up sliding down a little bit. So keep that in mind, especially if you have a hillside real close to a house or a building or drop off, whatever it may be. Just something to consider. So mowing grass wise, this mower, it does a good job, but when you're mowing, like, of course I usually mow at 3.5, 3.25, you do got to double check yourself, because there are times this mower, for some reason, right down the middle, kind of more on this side here, it'll leave a little trail, you know, a little bit taller grass. So I measured it. It's level. Just not sure if it's terrain. I'm not used to that yet. So my old grasshopper I never had a problem, but that deck was out in the front. But I really never had a problem with that. This one here, until I get it fine-tuned, I did notice that. So if you're looking to mow some yards, you may want to check yourself and check the right beside you after you get them mow and see if you have any grass sticking up. So that is one thing. It doesn't do very good at adjusting. Like, you know how some yards will have like a little hump that you got to go over, and that one, it will scalp that yard in a minute. I think at that point, I was at 3.75. So I was kind of high up. So that may just be the user, which I'm fully capable of messing something up. But I try to take it easy. You got it full throttle. It is a very fast mower. I'm not real sure what the top speed of it is, but of course I do. Let's see, everything down here so far, it's been got a little grass on it. It's still doing well. I try to find some. Of course, now while I'm on here, I probably will find it, but I try to find some grease fittings for these dudes here, but I don't know if any of these spindles even have those. No. So of course I know it sounds like I'm pro grasshopper, but the grasshopper, on every spindle you had a grease fitting. So the reason I make that a big deal is, I mean, these mowers are expensive, and if you get a opportunity to, you know, make some and get a little bit more life out of them, I mean, I like that. So I really don't know why I didn't check that before I bought it. But like I said, here, these arms here, they do have grease fittings on them. So I've already greased those. So I'm trying to think, I think I had something else to tell you guys. Just something little. What was it? Oh, yeah, so the throttle cable back here so far, it has done pretty well. Of course, you can tell where it's at, and you see where the exhaust is. It hadn't melted yet, but I have read from other customers, or not customers, but other owners, that throttle cable there, where it's so close, that throttle cable will eventually melt. And another dealer, he was telling me that too, that they sell replacement parts. But so that would be something I would be looking for when you're mowing. Just kind of keep an eyeball on it. Then other than that, I mean, the mower's been pretty good. Let me zoom back out here. Would I recommend this mower? So far I would recommend this mower, especially over the like your Lowe's, which I had nothing against Lowe's, but story from last time, I bought one Toro, mowed with it like 4 or 5 times. I mean, the darn thing almost fell apart. Honestly, when I put it back on the trailer, that may have been my 4th mow. The deck belt broke. The seat was, I had to scrounge up bolts to have the seat on. So the exhaust, that little throttle cable I was telling you about, it was melting. The throttle cable wouldn't move up and down. I mean, that thing was a piece of junk. And then the second one I got, parts was switched out on it. I didn't really pay attention that close, but after I got it home and looking, the seat was a John Deere seat. The hitch was, someone took the hitch off of it. There was something else on it too that wasn't correct. So I don't know if someone just took it off or people that assembled it didn't put it back together. So the reasons now, if you had the extra money, would I recommend maybe an upgrade or maybe like a X-Mark or something like that? I probably would. But if you're just mowing just to get the grass mowed and have a decent mowing experience, I mean, I would stick with a Bad Boy. But if you're wanting your yard to look absolutely fantastic, it's hard to do on these mowers. Like I said, maybe it's me. And sometimes I can get a yard looking really great, but there are times where I get grass sticking a little higher on one side, and there is a few posts from other people that have the same complaints while others do not have the complaint. I do have the complaint, so I have taken all the blades off and I have sharpened it, and I guess we'll see after a period of time to see if that really helps with anything or not. But other than that, so far, like I said, 8.5 hours on this mower. It does have the Kohler 26 horsepower engine. I hadn't had any loss of power. I've actually cut some pretty thick stuff with this mower. And honestly, it did great. I do like the chute. I do like how it's rubber. And you can, of course, you can lift it up and, stays up. So that is a pretty cool thing. Like I said, if you have any questions on these mowers, like I said, feel free to comment below and if I can answer the question or if I ran into the issue, I'll let you know. But so far, I hadn't had too many issues yet, just that brake cable. Yeah. So other than that, I'll keep you updated if I get anything else. See you guys.